You're listening to Life and Shyt. I'm Danielle Walker.
And I'm Tommy Walker.
Join us as we talk about our journey overcoming fears, boundaries, marriage, family, lifestyle, business, and whatever other shit you can think of.
We're individuals that came together to create one unit with one mind and one goal. What's up, girl?
What's up, baby?
How you doing?
I'm wonderful. How about you?
I'm doing outstanding. I just had a birthday.
Yay. Happy birthday, baby.
Yeah, I'm big 4-0.
Big 4-0.
Why they call it the big 4-0?
The big 5-0, the big 6-0.
Everything's big, huh?
Yeah, unless it's the big 2-5. Like, that don't work out.
Nah.
The big 2-1.
You ain't big 18.
The big 1-0.
21.
10.
It ain't till you're 40 that it becomes big.
Yeah, that's true. And 30 is always like a dirty thing, like a dirty 30. But.
It's the time of your life where you're a little filthy.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
What's that, babe?
Is vaccination status equivalent to talking about politics and religion nowadays?
You know, I say that it's more like an STD. I think it's kind of a little more dirtier than that. I mean, it's kind of like
hold on. Talking about vaccination status is like talking about STDs.
To me, the mask is kind of like a condom, or my 6 feet is like inviting you into my bed, or not giving you my allowing you to come closer to me. So it's like this. Do you have anything? No, I don't have anything. Okay, we're good. We can talk. You know, it's that. It's that's the way people trust. You know, I know back in the days people would go and like, okay, we're gonna get tested together and stuff like that. But now it's kind of like a trust system when it comes to STDs. It shouldn't be, but it is, you know. Yeah. They're like, are you clean? I'm clean. All right, let's do this. We don't need a condom, or do we need a condom? Or, you know what I mean? So it's like, do you need a mask? Or do I need a mask? Or are you vaccinated? Or are you not vaccinated? And, you know, it's like, okay. Then when people are sick, they hide it. They're like, oh, I'm sick, but it's not the vid, or it's not.
Well, because nowadays, if you're sick, you got to say, it's not the vid. Right? But then if you ask somebody if they're vaccinated, people also get offended nowadays. Mm-hmm. But like, to me, vaccination has been around forever. So why you? But I guess nobody's asked us either. We ain't walk into a store and somebody asks, are you vaccinated?
Yeah.
Like, I've been walking around this earth for 40 years. Yeah. All of a sudden now you came from vaccinated?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you have an STD? No, no, I don't. That's why I'm out here walking around. Otherwise, I'd be at home somewhere getting my stuff fixed.
and unfortunately, in the current climate, people want to be around people now that are like, it's almost cultish. Yeah. It's like, I only want to be around people that are vaccinated.
Yes.
And people that are not vaccinated don't give a shit. They're like, I don't care.
Yeah, it's true. They're around everywhere.
But if you're vaccinated, then all of a sudden you got your nose in there just a little bit. You know?
Well, are you vaccinated? And then the booster shots now. Well, I got my booster. Did you get your booster? Like, are we boosted? Like, what's going on?
And boosters, like you said this the other day. It was funny because booster shots are not new.
No.
Like you get them every so many years. Mm-hmm. But now, because booster shots came 6 months after the COVID vaccine, it was like, what is this? Yeah. Everything is questioned nowadays.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the flu shot, you got an initial one, and then every year you get another one, which is just a booster. The other vaccinations, I would say, the ones you have to get as a child, I recall when my children got vaccinated as kids, as babies, they just came and they were already done. You know, it was like, oh, they got this, they got this, they got that. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Well, it means they won't get mumps. It means they won't get chicken pox, you know, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, that's great.
So you're saying that when Tyson Taylor was born, it wasn't a choice for you to get the vaccination. No. It was already done. It was like, by the way, here's a vaccination card.
Yes.
I don't remember asking or being asked if, you know, hey, you want the vaccinations?
It's like something that just kind of automatically happens. I don't even recall exactly what they all were until I went into school for medical. And in medical was like, okay, these are what and I was like, oh shit, like that's a lot of stuff we inject into these children, you know, at babies.
Yeah, that's facts. So the trip is there's a calendar, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, back in the days, I felt like my parents was on top of that calendar. It was like, all right, it's time to go get your shots.
Yep, we had to be.
It was like again?
Yeah.
As an adult, you still supposed to get, right, between the ages of 27 and 65, there's still shots that you're supposed to get, boosters.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
But nobody's like, hey, are you up to date with your calendar?
Right.
Or even your doctor, is your doctor asking you, hey, the only shot that I hear mostly when we go to the doctor is, hey, did you get your Technic shot? That's it.
Or the flu shot, right?
And the flu shot, because it's seasonal. Yeah. And to me, they give it away. And we don't ask about it.
That's true.
But me, I never get the flu shot.
Yeah.
I've got it one time, and it wasn't even a shot. It was the nasal joint.
Yep.
And I was like, I will never do that again.
Yeah. And, I'd never gotten it before, and then I got into the medical field, and I started getting it, and I was just like, okay. And I never had the flu. I would say maybe I did have the flu maybe once, but I just didn't have it. I don't know. I was like, I kind of was under the impression that people who had the flu all the time should get the damn flu shot, you know, like, so you don't get the flu. But then people would say, well, if I get the flu shot, then I get sick. And then that's been a debate forever, right? Where people were like, you don't get sick, or it's all in your mind, or there's nothing, and they're not giving you a live flu. And
Well, yeah, but and I beg to differ, because when I got the flu nasal thing, I was sick right after that. So of course I'm
which is why you don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. I've never been sick in the wintertime. Like, my sickness is not in the wintertime. I never get sick in the winter. I get my allergies, and then in the summertime I get, maybe I went to somebody's party, or some babies around. I think babies is the only thing that make me sick.
Babies have some strong
Babies
sicknesses.
I mean, like, any baby with a snotty nose, I run away from them.
Hence why they get vaccinated.
But you said you was in the medical field, and that's why you got your flu shot. And for the medical, it's been a thing for years. You have to get a certain vaccination in order to come to work, or you wear a mask or whatever. That's been normal.
Yes.
Now all of a sudden, it's throughout every industry. Now everybody's being mandated to get vaccinations.
Truth. And schools, which you were saying earlier, that, there's this vaccinations that are supposed to happen once we become, 25 to 60?
27 to 65.
27 to 65. Well, I mean, at that time, who's checking for it at this point? You know what I mean? So when I enrolled the kids into kindergarten, first thing they ask for is those vaccination cards. Like, I have my vaccination card still. I do have it, but
from when you was a kid?
I do.
Really?
It's like, it has all my vax on it. It has everything on there.
You could barely read it.
Yeah, it's old, right? And all these different writings on there. And then I think I have the kids too. But that's when they were checked every year, right? Every year, are they up to date? If they weren't up to date, it's like, no, look, I take the kid to the doctor, make sure they're up to date, and then bring them back, and they're good to go. And this happened all the way until we were about 18, right? I mean, at least 17, right? That's the last year you're in school. But in high school, I don't recall us needing vaccination cards anymore. Maybe it's just an elementary school thing, because I don't recall having to take the girls for shots. At past high school is when you go to the doctor and they say, when's the last time they had a shot? They're about due. That's kind of feels like that.
In high school, I think the only thing they asked for was physicals.
Yeah.
You had to have your physical.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't no vaccine. This is the first time I had a vaccination card. I got mine. So, we're both vaccinated, COVID-19, with the booster shots and all that, that whole shebang. Like, judgment or not, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Don't be telling my business.
I got a vaccination card, took a picture of it, you know what I mean? I haven't had a vaccination card since I was in elementary school.
Right.
And looking at this shit, I'm like, damn, this is, now motherfuckers is they have fake vaccination cards. People, like, when we was kids, they wasn't slinging.
Or were they?
So, okay, all right. So talk about that. So you got the parents that's like, I'm not vaccinating my kids, but I want them to go to public school. So they got to be a black market ring of vaccination cards to get my kid at school.
Nah, it probably wasn't.
But today
that's dangerous.
It is. Like New York City cops going to jail for fake vaccination cards.
That's
like,
crazy.
Of course, like everything else, you counterfeit it. But like, damn, it's like that now.
Yeah.
It's stuff like, so vaccination's been around forever. You had a vaccination for chickenpox. I've had chickenpox. I've had chickenpox. Actually, all of us had chickenpox, if I'm not mistaken. My brother and my sister, we all got chickenpox. We never had none of the other. I think chickenpox was that disease that sounds not so bad versus like measles. And like measles sound like, you might grow an extra lung if you got measles. But I, if I'm not mistaken, my dad could let me know. I think he might have had it.
Okay.
Like when they was young, Like those diseases were very
Right.
like serious.
Yes.
Hence why they had the vaccinations for
Yeah.
them.
I mean, I never had the chicken pox, but my brothers and sisters did. I went away for the summer, and they got chicken pox for the summer. When I came back, their chicken pox was gone, so I was good. But I did get the mumps, and
That's another scary one.
That's every time I say, oh God, I hate saying that I got.
Yeah, when
mumps
you say it,
because people just
it
they
makes
look
me
like,
twitch a little bit. I'm
like
like,
the
ooh,
mumps, like what's
yeah.
that? I didn't even know what the heck that was either. And believe me, I was the oldest at the time of I think it was only 4 of us at the time. We didn't have our baby sister yet. We had like a 2-bedroom, and I got to have the room to myself and eat nothing but ice cream and Jello. So
you made
it was
the mumps
the
sound
best. Cool. It was the best. I'm like, I'm still sick a week later.
Now, what is the mumps like when you get swollen or something like that?
Yeah. My neck got like all super swollen. It's just basically all the glands inside of there. It just got all nasty and infected. And
But do you itch?
you do get like little red bumps around your neck, and it's not super itchy. Like I don't not all over my body. It's just uncomfortable, and it's more a throat thing. Hence all the ice cream and the Jello that I got to eat the whole entire time.
So it was hard to swallow.
Yes.
So now, did you have to quarantine?
Yes.
So
that's why I was in the room by myself for that time.
So trip this, right? So you had to quarantine. When you got chickenpox, you have to quarantine, right? Because of how contagious it is.
Yeah.
We never used the word quarantine back in those days. Like it was like
quarantine.
Yeah, you're gonna sit in the damn room for 2 weeks.
Yeah. By yourself.
By yourself, yeah.
Like,
because you're contagious.
Yeah.
Like contagious was a very quarantine.
Contagious is the word.
I was like, yo, like would they make when they start using this word quarantine? But it's been around forever.
It
you know
has.
what I mean?
It's true. It's just we didn't use it with that term.
Exactly. So you got diseases and that we are used to, and we get vaccinations for them. And you either now if you had chickenpox, you're also prone to shingles. Like that shit sounds scary.
Super scary.
I seen a motherfucker the other day. He was like, "I'm here for my shingle shot." I was like,
whoa. It's like there's a single shot now.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa.
What age do you start getting that?
And then they say if you had chickenpox, you could get shingles. Which I mean, I had chickenpox, but I don't think I've ever been worried about shingles.
Yeah, no.
And I remember the first time it was one of my employees told me they had shingles.
Yep.
I thought he was gonna die. I was like, what the fuck? I had to go start Googling what's shingles. Like, are you okay?
Yeah, like what the heck?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Another one that they do, the HPV. I call it the one less shot because it was a commercial and it has kids, right? It's kids. And the kids would be like, I want to be one less, one less. And this is for genital warts, right? So they made it real, like, gentle, right? Like with the kids jumping rope and singing the song. Like they want to be one less person with genital warts. Like really that's what they're saying. And and you can start actually at 11 years old is when they recommend your child to get this shot. 11 years old, and this is for genital warts. If your child has unfortunately been in some kind of a sexual abuse or emergency, then at 9 they'll give it to them.
Wow.
So to me, that's just a trip.
That is a trip. Like I mean, granted, but it's real life, right? Like
it's
eventually, we all gonna have sex.
Yeah.
And
stuff
like,
spreads. Like I said, you
like
got STD, you got STD. Like, oh, I don't have one today. They'd say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But who knows? In a couple of weeks, I might break out.
I would say I'm probably almost like in today's environment. I'm probably almost as scared of I don't think I'm scared of the virus. I think I'm scared of what the media is making of the virus. You know what I mean? Like just like how the media put AIDS out there. Mm-hmm. They made AIDS when I was a kid. We talking 80s, 90s. They made AIDS seem like you could get that if somebody kissed you. If your mother kissed you, you get AIDS.
Yeah.
If somebody breathed on you, you get AIDS. Mm-hmm. But that was because they didn't have the data, right? They didn't have a lot of data on it. It was still something that was, it became a pandemic, right? Because people were dying from it. And of course, as information started coming in, they started disseminating it. And then it was not as bad as, it seemed. Mm-hmm. But when I was a kid, I was like, oh shit, you get AIDS when you walk outside. And then they tried to categorize AIDS, right? They tried to say, oh, only this certain group of people get AIDS.
Right.
And it was like, no, it's not. So all of this stuff, it was all media making you feel like that.
That was crazy because then people were like, whoa, I'm straight. I can't get AIDS.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, gosh.
No, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Just like with everything else that's like, oh, well, white people could only get shingles, or black people could only get gout. Or,
I know white people with gout. So that's not
exactly. Like diseases are not discriminatory.
Not at all. That's real.
You know what I mean? Like disease can hop into anybody.
That is so true. So true.
So it's just crazy how the media is making it very scary, right? I mean, granted, you take your precautions, but you got to get the data, get the information, and then you can make a sound decision. I mean, 50 years from now, we're going to be laughing about COVID. Unfortunately, today is not a laughing matter. Over 5 million people passed away because of this. And then we have vaccinations that people are making seem like vaccinations are a new thing, and it's a scary thing where, like, I was in the military. There's 17 different vaccinations that you get once you go into the military. And these vaccinations are anywhere from experimental drugs, like it's not FDA approved.
Right.
And some vaccinations, they're not even doing no more because of what happened. And then depending on where you're going, those vaccinations go up. So like the bare minimum is 17, and then they go up after that.
If you go overseas,
yeah, exactly.
This or that. I don't know. I remember when our daughter joined, and she was talking about that peanut butter shot, and she's just like, "Oh, the peanut butter shot."
Exactly.
And it's like, what is that? Like us laymen, we wouldn't know.
Or the crazy thing is when they make cocktails, it's a cocktail vaccination is where they throw a bunch of things all in one and then give it to you to make sure it kills everything.
Damn.
Or even like, you know, like I remember the first time you got a Z-Pack.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is a Z-Pack? Oh, it's all the antibiotics to make sure it clears everything. I was like, whoa.
and in like 3 days, right? Instead of like the 7 or something like that.
Yeah, it's like everything that's in me is going to be dead.
Yeah,
like shit, I
it's
hope you like.
Do you survive? That is too funny.
Oh man.
And it's a trip because vaccinations started hundreds and hundreds of years ago, really, right? The Buddhist monks were the first ones that started. They actually drank snake venom to prevent them from getting a snake bite. Like if they got a snake bite, they're like, hey, we already drank the snake venom, so it's going to prevent it from happening. It's like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And then in America in 1796, Edward Jenner, he was considered the founder of, it's like vaccinology. So he gave a young boy cowpox. So it's like how they say it's stopping a disease with a disease, right? So he gave him cowpox, and it demonstrated immunity against smallpox. So that's the other thing that
I
people...
didn't know cows had pox. Like, chicken pox. I'm going to let you finish your story, but I got to... Why do we name everything after animals?
Smallpox, chickenpox, cowpox. Yeah, why chickenpox? You're right.
Swine flu.
Yeah, it is. It's
Bird
true.
flu.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the other thing that people kind of like trip off of the vaccinations, right? Because it's like they're giving you something. And I understand that too, right? Like you're giving me a disease to counter this disease, but I don't want that disease either. You know, like I don't want either one. What if something happens to me because of that?
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things that made things scary in today, right? Because of how fast they say I say we, like I was in the building. I was not in the building.
The scientist in
Scratch
there,
that
in the lab.
Yeah. me didn't come up with anything. But how they came up with the vaccination for COVID, and it's because it wasn't, like how you said, it wasn't giving you the disease, but it was just a different technology of how to use it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to look at, you know, the evolution, and I look at people, and it's like, yo, we're in 2022. If vaccination process don't change, yo, like everything else, if I get a brand new iPhone every single year and it's better and better and better, I would expect the vaccination process to be better and better. I would expect it to be quicker.
Yeah, or maybe all in one, like we said.
No, fuck the all in one.
Yeah, shake it. This is COVID. This is the flu.
Don't worry. Yo, from November to March, you Gucci with this.
Yeah. How old are you? Oh, 25. Oh, here, get a little extra of this.
Oh man. But you know, I wouldn't question it, you know, based on the technology. I would say, you know, technology's got better. People are smarter. We've tried things, we failed. I think the vaccinations nowadays come out faster. I'm not saying they're better, but they come out faster just based off of what we have to work with.
Yeah, definitely. How do you feel about loss of jobs that we have now?
That is, you know, that's it's bullshit, and at the same time it's tricky.
Yeah.
You know? It's because like we said, you know, when you was in the medical field, you had to, and it was like, because I'm in medical, I do it or wear a mask.
That's the flu, though.
Yeah, right. And it's been like that for years. But now going across every industry, and then to pass a law, right, to say, all right, if you have 100 employees or more, then you have to either test or get vaccinated, and if not, you're done. The military, Marines kicked out thousands of Marines. I would have never thunk you'd be kicking out Marines because they didn't get vaccinated. But then at the same time, these same Marines, like I just said, you got the vaccinations to get in.
Thousands. I mean, or not thousands, but 17 plus.
Yeah, it's like, so you get vaccinated to get in, and then now you have this new vaccination, and you're like, nah, fuck that. I don't want to do it. So to lose your job, I mean, from an opinion standpoint, as owners, I mean, we haven't made that choice, and we've told our employees until the law tells us we have to, you know, it's your choice.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, it's your choice. But I would press upon you to make sure that you're following all the best practices to make sure you're not getting everybody else sick. Which goes back to, like, when you show up to work with a runny nose and you coughing all over the place, like, take your ass home.
Yeah, go home.
Yeah, like, don't sit in here coughing and
yeah. Be like, we don't need you that
dirtying
bad.
up the place. Yeah.
We don't need everyone sick. And that's exactly how it would be. Like, if one person comes to work sick, then the whole office gets sick, then everyone's out. It's the same thing. The same exact thing. It's like, come on, we have to be safe. We have to be conscious and cautious.
Exactly. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, we only think about right now, right? But if you think about during the H1N1 epidemic. So H1N1 swine flu was an epidemic. It didn't cross over to pandemic status. And if you're not aware of, you know, the difference between epidemic, pandemic, unfortunately, it's all about how many people catch it and die from it.
Yeah, and then too, an epidemic is going over, it's a certain community, population, or a region. A pandemic is spread over multiple countries and continents.
And when H1N1, aka swine flu, whatever you want to call it, when that came around, a vaccination came out for that too. There was a vaccination for that, but it wasn't forced upon us. It wasn't a big push for it. And then now all of a sudden, we don't hear about it no more. It's not a big deal. It was controlled or whatever the case may be, right? It's still out there, though. Swine flu is still out there. Spanish flu is still out there. But now we just live with it. Unfortunately, people passed away from it at the time that it happened, and a vaccination came out. I didn't go get an H1N1 vaccination.
I didn't either, yeah.
I don't, like, at the time, I didn't even know it was an H1N1 vaccination. I was just like, hey, just like when COVID first happened, I was like, well, that shit's in China. Well, we ain't got to worry about it.
Kept on hearing about it. And we're like, it won't get to us. Just like the H1, it wouldn't get to us, but it did.
Yeah, so it's funny how the medical system, like, to me, this was a quote I looked at, and it referenced with me a lot. People aren't mistrusting the medical system. It's just the medical system just actually not doing their job accordingly. You know what I mean? It's not that I don't trust you. You know what I mean? It's the information. And to me, the people that's giving out the information is not the medical people all the time, right? We're getting our information from the baker. We're going to the liquor store, you know, and where are they getting their information from, right? We're not going to our doctors, the people that's supposed to be studying this. And unfortunately, we have one guy that's on TV that's telling us everything, and we put him on a pedestal to make sure that, like, he is the scientist that we need to listen to. There's multiple scientists out there. We just got to make sure we listen to the right one, not your baker or your barista. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So I do trust my medical system. You know what I mean? And I don't think they're trying to put us in the wrong direction. But that's my opinion.
I get that. To me, I'm like, the question is, right, do you vaccinate? Like, is it good? Are you supposed to? I still don't know. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? But what I do know is that if you could prevent dying from a disease, like a preventable disease, then why not? You know?
1,000%.
There's, like you said in the beginning, 5 million people died from one thing, right? So if you're telling me that me getting this shot can prevent me and potentially my family from dying and getting it, I say, why not? Why not get it?
Yeah, I do your research, right? So if you bust your research, I mean, I agree with you. I'd rather get a vaccine than a virus. And I mean, we had COVID. Like, we had that shit. Now we was making fun of it because, you know, we had chickenpox. Well, I had chickenpox. I had COVID, and now you got all these variants. And the original, I can't even. Is it the OG COVID? Can we call it the OG COVID?
The COVID that people said they had before COVID was COVID?
Yeah. So the OG, before there was a variant. Right? Because now you got.
Before the variant.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the before when people be like,
when it was still in Wuhan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the OG COVID is before they did the variant, we had it. It tore us up. Like we was real bad for about a week. And if they came out with the vaccination before I had it, yeah, I probably would have been like, all right, let me go get it. But then they say once you get it, then you build the immune system that will fight it, right? So eventually would you want it so that just your body, but is that a risk, that you could take? In reality, it really just depends on how your body is. You know what I mean? If you're prone or if you have your immune system is down, you're going to run away from that. And by all means, you should. But if you're pretty, I ain't gonna say pretty strong because I ain't that strong. You know what I mean? Whatever strong means, I'm not throwing around 500 pounds.
Or healthy.
Yeah, I'm healthy. So yeah, my body did build up the immune system, to fight it off in the next time. But my body don't build up an immune system to fight off a common cold. Now, are we gonna call COVID the common COVID?
Right. That's a great question.
Every year when it comes around, like we still get a cold, we still get the flu. It's just not knocking people off as much.
Yeah, and it depends on us, right? Like we said, it's one of those things that they just don't have enough data. And I think that maybe too, a lot of people are waiting like, okay, let me wait a year. Let all y'all get vaccinated. Let me wait a year. And if things start falling off for you, yeah, you know what I mean?
Sure, that's what we did. We had one person in our life that got vaccinated. We was like, okay, we'll go do it.
But look at him for about 3 months. Yeah. Like, ain't nothing happened yet? Okay.
Like, all right, she's still all right.
At the end of the day, I think that it's your choice, right? To vax or not to vax, that's fine, but we give babies a bunch of vaccinations to prevent them and to prepare them for the world, right? And it seems like I would rather have had my child be prepared for whatever is coming into the world instead of just like kind of pushing them out there head on and not knowing what may happen, Not vaccinating means that you trust other people to do the right things. Right? And that's my opinion. But I don't think that people do the right things a lot, especially now with people being like, oh, I'm sick, but not COVID sick. And they don't even know. You know what I mean? They don't get tested, then you don't know, So.
1,000%. I agree with you. Do your research, study, again, don't listen to your barista, your baker, go out there and get your own opinion. I always tell my kids, I used to always say, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. So if you're hearing it, go get the information and make sure that you make a sound decision for you. Because at the end of the day, it's all about you. And who cares if people are judging you? Don't let vaccinations be a political or religion conversation. Yeah. We don't, there's rules. Don't talk politics. Don't talk religion. Let's not make vaccinations not that. We don't need one more thing to separate us as a community.
True. That's true. But STDs and codes are so real. So don't be afraid to talk about them.
Nah, don't be afraid, but just be honest.
Yeah.
Be transparent.
Yeah, this is Life and Shit.
Life and Shit.
Dani and Dani.
Do us a favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Leave a review. Let us know what your thoughts are. That's the only way that this show is going to be successful. And we appreciate you. Talk with you next time.